I definitely just got dirt on my face. I can tell. Hello plant pals, and welcome to another video. My name is Kenna and I'm so excited to have you guys here with me today. Today we are going to be repotting and putting some plants on moss poles that are desperately in need of some support. So the plants that we're putting up are some of my favorites, and they've been growing for a little while and finally are large enough to actually put on moss poles. So I'm really excited to share their progress with you, and I can't wait to see them grow some big beautiful leaves for me. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. I have 3 plants today that need to be not necessarily repotted. Some of them do need to be repotted, but mostly they just need a moss pole. That is my goal for today, is to get these 3 up on moss poles, and hopefully they will be much happier that way. So I'm gonna go ahead, I think, and start with the ones that do need to be repotted. This one would be the first one on that list. This is my Florida Green Beauty, and I have to say she is beautiful. I do love this plant, but she has definitely outgrown her pot. If you can look at the bottom there, you can see there's roots coming out. She has outgrown this pot and is desperately in need of an up pot. So I was gonna put her in this pot, but I think, honestly, with the moss pole, that might be too small. So she's probably gonna get a little bit bigger. This one might be a little bit too big. We're gonna see. I might end up switching some things around, but we'll see where this goes. So this one I did grow from a little cutting. Actually, it was a 4-leaf cutting, so it wasn't really little, but it was from a cutting. And when I potted her up, this was kind of the pot that she really needed to go in. Her root system was not yet super developed, so she really couldn't go in a larger pot. Now though, she definitely has some roots. And I'm just trying to kind of loosen her from the pot here. All these plants are also in probably need of a water, which with terracotta, you typically, terracotta absorbs moisture. So when you have terracotta, plants sometimes will kind of like cling, their roots will cling to the terracotta. And so sometimes it's easier to get them out if you water kind of the day before. However, I did not. So we're just gonna be gently tugging at these roots, seeing if I can pull her free. Let's see. Aha. Awesome. Perfect. I don't think I really broke any of her roots. So her root system, is decently sized. I don't think she's big enough for a really big pot. I might see, maybe if I can get her, I think I might be able to fit a moss pole in there. We're gonna see. Alrighty. So I am using my favorite moss poles today. These are the ones that have a clear, solid back and just kind of that grid on the front. And the advantage of these is that they keep your moss poles moist for longer, so you don't have to worry about them drying out every day. I do still water my moss poles pretty much every other day, I want to say, but this kind of prevents them from being dry and crispy by the time that I get to them, which anyone who has moss poles will tell you, if it is dry and crispy, it's going to be a pain to try to rehydrate that pole. I'm just kind of confirming. Yeah. All right. And these do tend to be somewhat of a pain to kind of assemble at times. They're a little bit fidgety for sure. And I do have some already dampened moss here. I have another block and I'm probably going to need it, which is why I have that bowl. That way I can get it moist before I make a pull. But this moss should be good for this one. And this isn't the high quality moss. It's definitely not my preference, but it is what I have. I mean, I'm finding sticks and roots in there, so not sure what's going on with that, but there we go. All right, and I do want to leave like a little bit of space at the bottom. That way I can fill that with soil. All right. Let's see. All right, that's one. This one tends to, like, as you get them kind of situated, the other ones will pop out, which is very frustrating. So you kind of have to just be patient with them. But once they're assembled, they're usually good. I haven't had any problems with them past that. Did you scare yourself, bud? The corgi is a very nosy boy. So he does like to kind of stick his nose in here and see what I'm doing. Perfect. All right, this is almost too easy so far. Okay, so that's definitely the easiest time I've ever had with these moss poles. Can't complain about that. And I'm just gonna pack this in there a little bit. And I'm trying to avoid a mess, so I should probably do this on the potting mat. I don't know what the heck is with those roots in there. Maybe a little bit more. All right, I think that is about where I want it. Perfect, okay. All right. Might take some situating, but I think I can make this work. And the thing is, the moss pole does take up, a good chunk of this pole or this pot, but I also fill the bottom of the moss pole with soil. So I don't want to, put it in too large a pot and then have all of the soil that's in the moss pole and in the pot itself, kind of overwhelming plant, because that would definitely not be good. I would probably keep the soil too damp for too long, and that's not really the goal. Go. And then I kind of want like that, I think. Yeah. There we go, that's even better. Okay. I'm just gonna fill in with some of the soil that was already in the pot. This soil does have a little bit of systemic in it, so I do kind of want to use this. That way I can take advantage of the systemic that's left over. just backfill with some of the new soil. I just mixed this soil today, which I really enjoy. I really love that kind of like new soil mix feel because it's still, you know, a little bit damp, it's fluffy. It's just really good. I think it's a plant person thing though. Maybe not everybody can sympathize with that. I have been considering lately maybe picking up the soil scoop. Not because I think it'll really, you know, be any better, but mostly because I think it would maybe keep me from making as much of a mess. I do tend to make a decent sized mess when I do stuff like this, so anything that can kind of cut down on that, like this potting mat, for example, is a good thing. All right, and then I think I'm gonna just kind of pop that up there. I do need to go grab Velcro for that though, so give me 1 second and I'll be right back. All right, I have more tools. I have Velcro, I have little dragonfly clips. I think I'm gonna reserve the dragonfly clips for like smaller vines, but the Velcro I think is gonna be perfect for this. So this is just like normal 1/2 inch Velcro. I bought, I think 100 feet of it, just in case I thought I was gonna run out. This isn't like the super heavy duty stuff, but I don't think that'll be that big a problem. Perfect. And maybe I could clip. This one. Right there. Perfect. And then this guy will definitely need a water, but that's one done. This looks so much better. I'm so happy I did that. As you can see, it's gonna be able to grow up this pole now and it's gonna be much happier. All right, so next up on the list is gonna be, I think I actually wanna go for my Majestic because I wanna see if this pot is gonna be big enough. So this is how those moss poles come. That was actually one that I had left over from a previous package. I kind of want to get this one assembled just to see where we're at as far as pot size. This pot was actually custom made, or custom, I guess, added onto by one of my coworkers. She added my Instagram handle on there. It was my Christmas gift or my Secret Santa gift. And I really love it, so I want to use it, but I need to make sure that it's the right size. Oh man, shrink wrap is my enemy. Ah. So when it comes to moss, I mean, there is like the 2 different types. This is obviously the lower grade stuff. It's not as, you know, perfect. It tends to be a little bit more torn up, maybe a little bit more filled with roots, I'm coming to discover. But this is the higher grade stuff, which has a noticeable texture and color difference, actually. I have a couple of poles that have both in them, and you can definitely see the difference. So it's currently my preferred sphagnum. I just have a bowl of water here that I'm gonna kind of dampen it with. And it definitely doesn't need to go all the way to the top. Right now, obviously my plants are not tall enough to go all the way up. So having the moss go all the way to the top is kind of pointless at this point. But I do like them at least pretty close. That way they can hold up my cans or bottles or whatever it is that I'm using to keep them watered. is actually easier to do with the moss in there, which is good to know. I think the weight kind of helps a little bit. Oh, why does your face only itch in the middle of messy tasks? Oh. I definitely just got dirt on my face. I can tell. And this one I know needs to be repotted because it keeps on drying out pretty quick, which is a good indicator that, you know, this pot is a little bit too small for it. Let's see. Ooh, I think that's gonna be, it might work. It might work. It looks maybe a little bit tight, but it should be fine. Pot isn't super heavy, so I don't think it's gonna hold that pole for long, but let's see where this is at. All right, and as you can see, I mean, there's a little stake in here, and that's what's been holding up this pot, or this plant since I've got it, actually. So since sometime mid-December. And I mean, it's worked, but it's now far too short to actually support this plant's new leaves. So it was time to get it on something a little bit bigger, and I didn't just want to pop another stake in there. Oh my goodness. Look at those roots. Those are some gorgeous roots in that pot. Love to see stuff like that. It makes me so happy. All right. And this is a little bit of a lighter mix than I use, so I'm just gonna kind of tease a little bit away. This looks like it's mostly cocoa coir. Which also kind of explains why it's drying out pretty quick. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and I guess just pop it in here and then I'll remove the pole. Okay. So you just kind of want to, when you do this, to keep the aerial roots pointed towards the pole. So when they're small, plants, you know, usually grow in a pretty consistent, like circular pattern, so they don't necessarily have a back or a front. But when they're this age, they kind of start getting, you know, pretty good back and a pretty good front differentiated between them. So you can kind of see this one side of the stem has more aerial roots over here, and the other side has less, and that the leaves are mostly pointed this way, which is a good indicator that this is the front. Ooh, gonna pop that there. This is the front, and the other side that is facing the pole right now is the back. And I actually don't mind if the roots grow into the bottom of this pole. I mean, obviously I want it to root into the pole itself, but I don't mind if the roots grow into the bottom of the pole, and that's mostly because whenever I transplant this plant, it's going to go with the pole. So if the roots entangle themselves in the bottom, that's not a big deal. Okay, good. Ooh. All right. So that looks good. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and backfill. Actually, that's fine. And this potting mix that I'm using here, like I said, I mixed it up myself. It has some cactus soil in there. It has some just like normal potting soil, because that's kind of what I had on hand. But the most important things that I usually mix in is orchid bark and actually it's the orchid bark mix. So it has perlite, it has charcoal, it has bark, it has, you know, a lot of ingredients in there that are really great for plants to keep it kind of airy and help retain some moisture. But I also add in just a little bit of extra perlite, which not everybody loves. Perlite does tend to kind of rise to the top of your mix over time. But I have a ginormous bag of perlite, so I'm trying to kind of use it up. I do like perlite for rooting. It's a really great rooting medium, but it does, you know, rise to the top of your potting mix. So it's not necessarily the best thing long term to keep your soil mixes airy. So that looks pretty good. And I actually, unintentionally, but pretty well, managed to center the moss pole front on the front of the, my little logo down here. So that's good. Because I didn't think about that, but I would have been sad if it wasn't, so. All right, I'm actually gonna use my little dragonfly clips here because I don't want it to fall over. There we go. All right. Ooh. So I want the bottom of the plant to be pretty well anchored with, careful, okay. I want the bottom of the plant to be pretty well anchored with the Velcro. That's usually what I do. That way the bottom of the plant is pretty secure and it actually kind of forces the rest of the vine up against the moss pole, which is, you know, obviously the point of having the moss pole in there. You want it to root in, but it has to be close enough to do that. So that's usually what I do for that. And then I'm gonna actually Velcro the middle as well, I think. Just to kind of give this vine some extra support. Perfect. And then that little dragonfly clip, there it is. I'm gonna use to secure this new node that's coming out. Perfect. Oh, that looks so much better. And that is number 2 done. I love how much better that looks. Oh my goodness. I am so excited about having this on a nice moss bowl, and I can't wait to see it start rooting in and climbing. Okay, so that's 2 down. And third is my Atabapoense. This is honestly one of my favorite philodendron. I have a lot of philodendron. I say a lot of them are my favorites because I don't like to choose between them. And honestly, I just love philodendron. It's one of my favorite genuses, but my Atabapoense is definitely up there as one of my favorite philodendron in my entire collection. This is actually 2 separate plants. If you guys watched my houseplant tour, you probably would have heard me talk about them. This is 2 separate plants that I got at 2 separate times. So the one was one I got on Etsy from a seller who said that it would be a fully rooted Atabapoense plant. It was a cutting. It was in no way rooted. And I had a panic for about 2 months waiting for some good roots to form. So definitely can't recommend that seller. But the larger clipping, this one here, actually came from a Facebook plant purge group. And I got it as a deal with other plants included. So I got my silver sword and I got actually my Monstera dubia along with this one. So it was an awesome deal and it definitely helped fill out my Atabapoense because my little tiny one vine here was getting kind of sad looking, I'm not gonna lie. So this one, I'm just kind of teasing the soil out. This soil is definitely still good. I didn't pot this up all that long ago, but I just want to add in this moss pole for support because this thinner vine here especially is not going to be able to hold itself up as the leaves get bigger. So I just kind of want to retroactively add a little bit of support here. you do want to be slow when you're doing something like this. Very patient for sure, because if you're not, you run the risk of tearing some of your roots, breaking some of your roots, which isn't the worst thing in the world, honestly. I mean, when it comes to, you know, root system, you know, it's pretty similar to the plant. If you prune it, you know, it's going to put out new growth, but you don't want to break off any vital roots, and you want to disturb the plant, honestly, as little as possible. But look at this root system. This thing has grown all the way down to the bottom of the pot and just gone crazy. I love that. I'm just kind of trying to see. Okay, so this entire plant has one single root sustaining it, the bigger one. The smaller one has a little bit more of a root system. I'm gonna see if I can bury, though, when I put this back in there, this kind of aerial right here. That way it can maybe get some more root exposure. This looks like it should be a node. I don't know why this one hasn't rooted. Ooh, it's a little bit squishy. That's not ideal. Let me actually get my clippers. I want to clip that squishy bit off. It's not necessarily to say that this little squishy bit here would hurt the plant. I mean, it very well might not harm it at all, but I'm just not comfortable with that. I don't like, you know, having squishy bits on my plants. Has that philodendron smell. All right. So I'm gonna leave, I think that node on there just in case it does ever decide to root. It would be advantageous for sure. I'm running out of room, even though my potting mat is huge. This is ridiculous. All right. I'm gonna pop you right there and assemble another pole. These two root systems are pretty well intertwined. Okay, good. I'm gonna try to kind of separate them the best that I can. That way I can situate them individually. I think that'll actually be enough for me to situate them. All right. So yes, there is a little growth point back there for an aerial root, and then aerial roots on here. And you can see like the internodal spaces on this one got really, really long, and then I put it in more light and they got so much shorter. That's always kind of fun to deal with in this case too. All right, there's definitely a lot of aerial roots back there. I feel like this is more... Hush, buds. Okay, so I think it's gonna be like this. Yeah, that should work pretty well. Have much of a vine going on it yet, so I don't know that I'm going to be able to anchor it to the moss pole, but I at least want it kind of pushed up against the moss pole. That way when it does have that opportunity, I will be able to just kind of Velcro it right on. Okay, I'm gonna stop fidgeting with that. I don't know about y'all, but I've noticed that the more I fidget with something, the more problems that I cause. So I try to kind of minimize that as best I can by telling myself to stop before that happens. All right. Awesome. So that is my Atabapoense done. I am so happy to have this one on a moss pole. I've been kind of waiting since I got it, honestly, to have it big enough to put on a moss pole. So I'm really excited about this. I'm very happy about this development, but I have made quite a mess, which I guess I have to clean up now because I only have so much time before I actually go to work today. Okay. Haven't left myself much room, have I? Just pop it there and I'll vacuum up later if I need to. Okay. So that's everyone up on moss poles. I'm so happy. I can't wait to see how much they grow and how much they size up with some support. And I can't wait to watch them root into those poles now. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy getting to see the progress of some of my plants and getting to see them put up on some moss poles. I can't wait for them to grow really, really big for me. I am not the most patient plant parent, I will admit. So I will keep you guys updated on their progress and you will get to see them grow as I do. And if you like this kind of video, go ahead and leave me a thumbs up. There's also a subscribe button down there. I would love if you hit it. That way we could be pals. And I would love to see you guys in some of my following videos. I do post once a week, so I will see you guys around as often as I can. And also, I would love if you guys would leave some comments down below. Let me know, what are some of your favorite plants that you put up on moss poles, and did it help them grow big fast? Because that's what I'm looking for here. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks so much. Bye.